she has gotten significantly bigger. Stephanie White has confirmed it. Stephanie White has gone out here and confirmed that Caitlin Clark has been bulking up. Like, that she's bulked up as a player and that she's no longer, like, skinny and weak.
Caitlin Clark just sent shockwaves through the WNBA, and no, it's not just because of her signature step-back three. She's been quietly transforming her body, and now she looks built, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever.
All right, guys, we're starting a little TikTok weight room vlog. We're gonna show you what we do.
Get the butt down.
Okay, speed. Okay, speed.
Wait, good for it.
Oh, she is strong. All right, guys, that's our lift. We are strong. Okay, we're actually strong. What?
You're probably wondering, how did this happen? And more importantly, what does it mean for the league? Well, we're about to break down how Clark went from getting bullied on the court to becoming an absolute force, and why every single defender in the WNBA should be terrified.
I gotta ask you a basketball question. I know that you work really hard in the off-season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on in this off-season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. You don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room, so that's what I've tried to focus on the most here. And then obviously, a lot of things on the court. I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me, and I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very fortunate that it's my job.
Think back to Clark's rookie season. She was phenomenal, no doubt. But let's be real, she took a beating. Defenders were pushing her, knocking her off balance and making every drive to the hoop feel like a full-body collision.
I feel like I'm getting hammered.
You could see it. Players like Dejanay Carrington, Kennedy Carter, and Angel Reese were out there treating her like a rag doll, trying to send a message.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter, I think that's going to be a flagrant one.
They thought she was too skinny, too weak, that she wouldn't be able to handle the physicality of the WNBA. And for a second, some people started wondering the same thing. Would Clark end up like other college stars who couldn't handle the jump to the WNBA? Would she fade under the pressure? Yeah, not a chance. Because Caitlin Clark is built different.
Like, every time you're seeing Caitlin Clark out, it's like, okay, she's not as skinny as she was. And this is someone who, like, that's something that she really needs to, that's something she really needs to do.
Clark didn't just take those hits and accept them. She took notes. And this offseason, she hit the gym with a vengeance. No more getting pushed around. No more taking cheap shots without a response. No more defenders acting like they could throw her off her game with physicality alone. And now, she's stronger than ever. Her coach, Stephanie White, has already noticed the difference. Clark isn't just stronger, she's tougher, faster, and more durable. This isn't about just adding muscle. This is about becoming an unstoppable force.
Is Caitlin Clark stronger, or do you expect her to get stronger? And two, like, what's realistic, like, in terms of from a great first year to now second year in the league where, you know, it's not as new anymore, right? And you sort of know how the league plays, if nothing else.
Yes, she is stronger, first and foremost. And again, she's got a lot of self-awareness. And, she figured that out, right away. Like, I need to get stronger. I can't get knocked around as much.
Her arms? They're looking like tree trunks now. Her core strength? Next level. Her ability to take contact? Completely transformed. Clark didn't just tone up. She built an entirely new version of herself. And now, the WNBA isn't ready for what's coming.
Not that she was, like, too weak to be in the W, but, like, she was too weak to be, like, an imposing presence in the W like she was in college, because she could be physically dominated. And then obviously we have seen throughout the offseason, we have seen, like, some of the transformation.
For months, defenders tried to make Clark's life miserable. They fouled her hard, knocked her to the floor, mocked her in post-game interviews, and acted like she didn't belong. But here's the thing. She was already dropping points on them while getting pushed around. Now, good luck stopping her. Because the days of Clark being the one getting bullied are over.
Caitlin Clark just dropped her daily off-season workout, and it's absolute. This is why the WNBA was in big trouble.
This time, she's the one initiating contact. She's not getting bumped off her spots anymore. She's creating her own space. She's not just an outside shooter anymore. She's taking defenders inside, bodying them in the paint, and forcing them to respect her in every area of the court. And the best part? They can't do anything about it.
I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every single day.
Clark was already one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in the WNBA. But now, she's added a post-up game. Imagine this, Caitlin Clark backing down a defender, using her newfound strength to muscle them into the paint before either scoring effortlessly or kicking it out to an open teammate for an easy bucket. This isn't just an upgrade, this is a nightmare scenario for every team in the league. Because now, there is no way to stop her.
Somebody said the league is not ready for Caitlin. 3.0 MVP is hers. Yes, go. Fever admin, I love you. Caitlin put some weight on, bro. She definitely got in the weight room. And like, I don't think Caitlin put weight on. I think Caitlin put a lot of muscle on. I think that's what the biggest difference is that we're seeing out of Caitlin. You know, going into this upcoming season, I think Caitlin put a bunch of muscle on, and it shows. It shows within her, you know, her body frame. It shows that her arms is bigger and her thighs is way wider. She definitely put some muscle on.
And that's why the entire WNBA is on high alert. Clark isn't just coming back for another season. She's coming back as an entirely new beast. And the defenders who thought they had her figured out, they're in for a rude awakening.
So Caitlin Clark in college was not the strongest player in the world. Like, she was somebody that wasn't weak by any means, but we saw when it came to the WNBA that she wasn't able to really assert herself physically.
Caitlin Clark's transformation isn't just about dominating this season. It's about setting herself up to be a force in the league for years to come. This isn't just some off-season tune-up. This is the kind of dedication that turns good players into great ones, and great ones into legends. And now the real question. Can Clark actually use those new muscles she's been building? The answer? Absolutely.
Done a great job of getting in the weight room and really focusing on her areas that she needs to focus on in terms of strength, in terms of, low center of gravity, time under tension, like all of those things. I think the next step is efficiency, right? Like, not so many turnovers.
She hasn't just bulked up. She's completely redefined her game. This isn't the same Caitlin Clark you saw last season. She's added an entirely new layer to her skill set, one that's going to have defenders scrambling to figure out how to stop her. Think about how Clark used to play. Speed and elite shooting were her calling cards. That hasn't changed. But now, she's added power moves to her arsenal that will make her a nightmare to guard. Those smaller guards who used to try and body her up? Yeah. They're about to get a rude awakening.
I genuinely think that Caitlin Clark had quite a lot of flaws, but so is still, even with flaws, she was that good that if she can figure out those flaws, she's going to be the best player ever. And that's the reality of the situation. And one of them was that she was very skinny.
Clark has been grinding on her post-up game, and it's already paying off. She's backing down defenders like it's nothing, using her new strength to create space, and then turning effortlessly for an easy bucket. Imagine Clark posting up, muscling through contact, and draining fadeaways like a seasoned vet. That's a completely new weapon in her game, and defenders are going to have to rethink their entire approach to guarding her.
Stephanie White knows what she's talking about, and confirming Caitlin Clark is stronger is going to help a lot, because we saw after Olympic break when Caitlin Clark got stronger that she was posting up guards. Like, she doesn't have very many post moves, but that double bang with her left shoulder into the turnaround layup floater thingies off the backboard, it worked really well. And like, we saw her taking some bigger guards in the post.
And it's not just the post game. Clark's drives to the hoop are different now too. Last season, defenders could knock her off her path. Now, she's using her shoulder to create space, absorbing contact, and finishing at the rim with ease. Those tough layups that used to rattle out, they're dropping now.
If she's able to play a little bit in the post and able to shoot over people, that it becomes really difficult to put, for example, to put somebody like a Jordan Canada on her.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's new strength isn't just about scoring. It's unlocking an entirely new level of playmaking. She's holding off defenders longer, keeping her dribble under pressure, and creating passing lanes that didn't exist before. Picture this. Clark is surrounded by defenders, but instead of getting stripped, she powers through and finds an open teammate for an easy assist. She was already an elite passer, but this physicality is taking her vision to another level.
She's going to have that in her arsenal, and it's going to make her harder to defend. It's going to make her way, way harder to defend because, like, if you can't bully her, it means that the Dijonais hand check through three-quarter court isn't going to be allowed.
And if you're wondering whether this really makes that big of a difference, just listen to what the experts are saying. Some believe Clark's improved physicality could help her average a double-double in points and assists. Let that sink in. A double-double every game? That's the kind of stat line you see from the all-time greats. But here's the thing. Clark isn't stopping there. She's been refining every part of her game. Remember that workout video that went mega viral? 2 million views in 24 hours on Twitter. But why is this particular video such a big deal? It's not just Clark showing off. It's a masterclass in self-improvement.
If you guys saw this workout has gotten a lot of people excited for Caitlin Clark because she is like directly working on her weaknesses, which I think is a good look, honestly. I think that's a really, really good look for her because, again, when we're seeing somebody working on their weaknesses and not the glamorous weaknesses.
The video walks us through 3 key elements Clark's focusing on. First up, ball handling in tight spaces. Now, Clark's already a wizard with the rock, but she led the league in turnovers last season. Mainly it's because no one was used to the otherworldly passes she was dishing, and it did get better post-Olympic break. But it's also because she gets double and triple teamed all the time. The ball pressure is immense. By working on her control under pressure, she's addressing that head-on. Next, we see Clark drilling her mid-range game. This is huge. Everyone knows about her logo threes and her ability to finish at the rim. She shot a ridiculous 62% from less than 5 feet last season. But that mid-range? That's been the one gap in her offensive arsenal, and opponents are forcing her to take those shots. By adding a consistent floater and pull-up jumper, Clark's making herself even tougher to guard. Finally, there's a focus on finishing through contact, especially with her left hand. Clark's not afraid to drive, but in the WNBA, that means dealing with some serious physicality, whether intentional or not. By simulating game-like conditions and working on her strength, she's preparing for the bruising she'll face night after night. I mean, look at those arms.
She's back in her natural habitat, back in the lab, playing basketball, and it's got to be a scary sight for the rest of the WNBA if she gets even better, because it's not as if she wasn't absolutely phenomenally elite as a rookie and arguably the best player in the league after the Olympic break.
She's turning herself into a complete player, someone who can destroy defenses from anywhere on the court. And here's what should terrify the rest of the league. This is just the beginning. Clark is only in her 2nd season, and she's already making these kinds of improvements. Can you imagine what she'll be like in a few years? We might not just be watching a great player. We could be witnessing the start of a historically dominant career. And for the WNBA defenders who thought last season was tough, you haven't seen anything yet.
They're working on a lot of finishes in this video, a lot of finishes at the rim, and maybe some different finishes that we didn't see from her in the 2024 season. Now, Coach KP told me that one of his goals for Caitlin was just to expand her bag. So no matter what defense is thrown at her, she has something for it.
Caitlin Clark is stronger, more skilled, and playing at an entirely different level. But how scared should the rest of the league really be? Well, let me put it this way. Opposing coaches aren't just concerned. They're losing sleep over this new version of Clark. And I'm not just saying that for dramatic effect. Experts are already predicting that she could be the 2nd favorite for MVP in only her 2nd year.
With Caitlin Clark, that's a really, really important thing. You can do it gradually. And I don't think she bulked up like a crazy amount. Like, she's not going to be physically destroying people. I just don't think she's going to quite get bullied as much as she did.
Can you believe that? This isn't just a small improvement we're talking about. This is game-changing. Clark was already a scoring machine, but now she's added power to her finesse. It's like giving a Ferrari a rocket booster. Defenders who used to push her around are now the ones getting overpowered. Remember when teams bullied Clark on the court? Those days are over. Now, she's the one doing the bullying, and that's forcing teams to completely rethink how they defend her. But here's where it gets even crazier. Clark's newfound strength isn't just making her an offensive nightmare, it's turning her into a defensive threat too.
There was a couple of times you could see her arms, you're like, okay, she's gotten a lot bigger. And I do like the fact that she, by the end of the season, she was taking people in the post a little bit more. And that's the one thing I like with Caitlin Clark, is that not that she's got good post footwork, but she's got a good ability to kind of like bump with her left shoulder and then shoot over her right. That kind of layup hook shot.
She's fighting through screens. She's holding her ground against bigger players. She's no longer the defensive target she once was. Remember how teams used to hunt her on defense? Good luck with that now. She's not just a scoring phenom anymore. She's becoming a complete player. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but will she really dominate right away? Let me hit you with this. Some analysts are already predicting she could average 25 points and 15 assists per game.
I think it's an inevitability that Caitlin Clark is the first player to ever average a double-double in the WNBA with points and assists. I think she's going to likely set the record for assists per game in a season at some stage in her career.
That's not just good, that's historic. We could be witnessing the first player to ever average a double-double in points and assists. And get this, some experts are saying her points might actually go down a little, but her assists will skyrocket. Why? Because now that she's stronger, defenses can't guard her one-on-one anymore. They have to collapse on her every time she drives, which means she's going to be finding open teammates for easy buckets all season long. But let's talk about her scoring for a second. Even if her points per game drop slightly, her new physicality is changing how she scores. She's not just launching deep threes anymore. Now, she can post up smaller guards, back them down, and either score or kick it out to an open shooter.
I think it's going to be a situation where maybe she's not the best player in the world straight away. Maybe she's not the best player in the world by game 10, but we can't forget last year that she just got better and better and better. If there's a scenario where, like, I don't think it's far-fetched to say Caitlin Clark could average 23 and 10 next year.
And when she drives to the hoop, forget about it. She's finishing through contact like never before. And here's something that could be a huge problem for the rest of the league. Fouls. When Clark was skinnier, refs let a lot of contact slide. But now, with her new strength, those fouls are going to be way more obvious. That means more trips to the free throw line. And we all know Clark doesn't miss many of those.
The goal is not for Caitlin Clark to be, realistically shouldn't be for her, to be the best player in the world tomorrow. The goal should be to be the greatest player of all time. And to be the greatest of all time, you don't have to be the best player in the world next year.
But maybe the scariest part of all this, what this means for Clark's future. She's only in her second season, and she's already making these kinds of improvements. Can you imagine what she'll be like in a few years? We're not just looking at a great player, we could be watching the next all-time legend in the making. Clark isn't just changing her game, she's reshaping the entire WNBA landscape. You might be thinking, okay, she got stronger, big deal. Clark's transformation is sending shockwaves through the league. She's not just bulking up for herself, she's setting a new standard. Every player in the WNBA is getting the message loud and clear. Get stronger or get left behind.
The goal should be to fully cement yourself in that conversation next year, and then by year 3, make it so that the only argument, maybe the only argument against her being the best player in the world is A'ja Wilson herself. And then by year 4 or 5, when Juju starts to come into the league, when when Juju comes in, when Hidalgo come in, people are like, oh, these are the comparisons. I mean, no one's going to have those comparisons if at that stage Caitlin Clark is coming off an MVP season and a title and is the best player in the league.
So, what does this mean for the upcoming season? Well, let me tell you, we're in for something special. Can you imagine what she'll do with her new strength and refined skills? We're talking about potential records falling left and right. This isn't just another season, folks. We're about to witness history in the making. Clark isn't here just to compete. She's here to dominate. So grab your popcorn and clear your schedule, because Caitlin Clark is about to put on a show that'll have us talking for years to come. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.